All right, everyone. I'm a Canadian expat. I live in Shanghai, China. So I have a couple of very quick housekeeping things to do. I need to say good afternoon, New York. I need to say good morning to my lovely wife in Shanghai. Good morning. And I need to say hello to my mother in Wolfville, Nova Scotia, who's hopefully watching this afternoon. Okay. So today, many people have asked me, well, you're getting off easy, you know, like there's no presentation up here, where's all the fancy bells and whistles? And I'm like, yes, there probably should be some. And then again, I was thinking to myself, well, what are enjoyable moments? And a lot of people have asked me that. Peter, what are enjoyable moments? So today I'm going to walk you through 3 different types of enjoyable moments that social media allows us to have. So what I'm going to do before that, though, is I'd like to walk us through an exercise so that we can have our own enjoyable moment here at the 140 conference. So I'll ask you to stand up for one moment, please. Let's stretch for a moment, okay? Stretch for a moment, okay? Now, I'm going to ask you to clap your hands, so follow me, please. And then I'm going to ask you, the first thing about enjoyable moments, I learned as a kid in kindergarten. There's a very famous Canadian singer-songwriter. You may be familiar with him, but his name is Raffi. And Raffi taught me one of my most valuable lessons in life, whether I knew it or not. I had a friend at a barbecue a couple of years ago say to me, Peter, you live Raffi. And I say, I live Raffi? Well, then I'm going to allow you to live Raffi with me. So please repeat after me. The more we get together, the more we get together, the happier we'll be. The more we get together, the happier we'll be. My friends are your friends. Your friends are my friends. We're happy together. Thank you, and hopefully this is the sentiment that we're going to carry through the talk this afternoon. Please sit down and let's focus on what you're here to talk about, what I'm here to talk about today. So if you could cue the first picture, please. Excellent. So how many New Yorkers, how many of you have been able to get off the island of Manhattan and go to something that's called camp? Any camp folks in the crowd here? Excellent, excellent, good. So I have been a camp person all my life. So the first example I'm going to walk you through today is a personal connection I have with an enjoyable moment that is a human moment but was also provided through social media channels for us. And so the first topic I'm going to talk about is, again, how did an enjoyable moment come to me? Well, I went to camp from the age of 7. I went to Ontario Pioneer Camps up in Canada. I think we have some Canadians in the crowd. Thank you, thank you. We won't talk about the hockey, okay? So I went to camp all my life. I love camp. It's a great community to begin with. We don't need the internet to go up to camp and enjoy ourselves. But what happened is through the years, camp teaches you a lot about personal relationships. Then you grow up and you do leadership and training. And so why am I talking about camp at a 140 conference? Well, because how many people are familiar with the Pepsi Refresh campaigns? Anyone familiar with Pepsi Refresh? Well, basically, Pepsi Refresh is, of course, for those of you who are not familiar with it, this is a way for Pepsi to give back to the community. It allows people to post different organizations, and Pepsi, in Canada at least, they had different pillars. So if your organization needed $5,000, $10,000, $25,000, or $100,000, you could put your project up. Now, the last thing I did at my camp, I felt I needed to give back, so I was a special needs coordinator. We worked with kids with autism, Down syndrome, and many other special needs, and we ensured that they had a good time at camp. They had the same experience as mainstream camping. So the director of the program, 11 years later, posted a Pepsi Refresh. Can you imagine that, you know, a lot of people that I know from camp aren't that tech savvy. Maybe they're on Facebook to play some of the games. They reach out to their friends. But in this particular case, within 2 hours of the email going out from Jennifer Guest, the director of the special needs program, We went from 8th place to 1st place. We got $25,000 for our program, and I know exactly where the camp is. I've worked on the program, and I know the people that are going to be impacted. So that's my first example of an enjoyable moment in social media. So I hope you're feeling that connection. I hope you see that there's a personal experience to be had, and it's very human, and it's very tangible. And in my case, it connects me back to my childhood. The second thing, if you could you please cue the video? If we could cue the YouTube video? Okay, well, while he's doing that, one of the hats that I wear is that I'm on contract at Microsoft, and I curate. There's a lot of great conversation around curation, and I curate technical information for what's called the Microsoft Valuable Professional Community. And basically, what happens is that this information, although I'm not a technical person, a lot of people need to find this, and so we built a community, and we reached out sort of like the real-time Old Spice campaign. What we did is that we found a guy who drinks a ton of coffee, and he checks in on Foursquare. He's a Korean MVP. He's a technical journalist. He checks in on Foursquare that he's at the coffee shop, so we made him a coffee.
안녕하세요, 공석전설님. MSKB를 항상 지원해 주셔서 감사합니다. 근무 시간에 커피 많이 드시는 걸 알고 있는데요. 자, 카푸치노 한 잔 드세요. 감사합니다.
So this was a very human way to be able to reach out for those people that are using social media from a brand perspective. We didn't necessarily have the budget or the time requirements, but it really only took a couple people, a very cheap video camera, and 3 or 4, as I said, 3 or 4 people to piece together that video. And he loves it. And I met him in March. I actually had a physical connection. So that's my second example of where I had an enjoyable moment in social media, and it was a human connection and a personal connection. So the first example I talked to you about was my personal connection with my camp. The second one is how brands can potentially reach out in a very simple and humanizing way to their customers. The last thing I want to talk to you about, and this really actually speaks to what Jeff Pulver's been doing, this is talking about how you can use your own life as a platform for others, to give a voice to other people. So the example I want to share with you is that I would say that I'm an average conference goer. I mean, I probably pay more than speak, and Jeff has provided me the platform to be here today. And one of the things I was able to do, based on the inspiration from 140 Conference, I participated in Hong Kong Social Media Week in 2011, and I drove what's called the NGO panel. And we were able to bring 5 or 6 NGOs that would not normally have a voice to the table, shared with 60 people, and the retweets and the reverberation around these NGOs got more attention than I could ever put through out-of-cash donation. So I'd like to leave you with this, is that I think social media is a tool for us to actually reconnect. It's a very obvious point for some of the people in the room, but for those who are just starting their journey around realizing that there's some excellent things to be done in the social media space, look at your own connections. You may not think that you have a contribution to make, but our connections, our social fabric that we have, our friends, our professional colleagues, organizations that you may have touched upon a couple of years ago, you have the power, and this is a call to action actually. I'm encouraging every one of you that actually graciously stayed till 5:50 p.m. to listen to me. I'm encouraging you as a call to action to go and allow your platform, allow your social media channels to be a platform for people that don't have that voice. So I'd like to thank you very much again. Thank you very much, and I really appreciate being at 140 Conference. I hope that.